Officials here at Harrisburg International Airport say you won't see much of a difference next year. You might be wondering why we're here in this parking lot. That's because this, according to these court papers, is where Derek Brunson would meet this woman. The issue right now is that when you keep the leaves on the ground like this, trash gets mixed in and then it can't be composted. She's one of the people that wrote this letter calling for this chairman to be removed from the position, saying what happened at this meeting last week makes the Capitol and the state look bad, and it makes all of Harrisburg look bad too. I thought it was really important because these kinds of cases keep popping up and they're really emotional. And when people come here, they want to eat and they want it now, so they come to these vendors. Police say the girl was walking down Susquehanna Street when the van came up beside her. They say she made a good call when she turned around and started walking the opposite direction, because this is a one-way.
He certainly answered your questions.
Well, yeah, he certainly did, and he said a lot more than we expected, and because of that, we're now cooperating with police. We gave them a copy of our video today to help them build their case against Philip Greenhow.
She was a whore.
That was what homicide suspect Philip Greenhow told us exclusively as he headed into a magistrate's office for his preliminary hearing. He was talking about Lara Greenberg, his estranged wife who he's accused of killing, the woman he then admitted to killing. Did you do what they're saying that you did?
My wife, yeah, absolutely I did. She was a whore. She had many sex partners. It's just what it is.
But according to investigators, it was much more complicated than that. Police say they showed up to Greenhow's apartment on Bow Street in Harrisburg in January to arrest him for allegedly assaulting his son. Instead, they found 27-year-old Lara Greenberg inside, beaten and stabbed to death. She'd been missing for days. Police found Philip Greenhow days later in Georgia. He was arrested there because of a fight and extradited to Pennsylvania earlier this month. In court today, he waived his hearing. His case is now expected to go to trial.
There's been a history of domestic violence in this relationship. Unfortunately, the victim in this case had gone back to him, and here we are now with a much more unfortunate situation.
YWCA Director Tina Nixon says this happens all too often, but women in abusive relationships do have options.
No one should ever die at the hands of an abuser, at the hands of someone that they're in love with. This is horrific. It really is.
When we asked Greenhow if he felt bad about what he had done, he told us,
I feel bad. American public is raising harlots and homosexuality and whatnot. This was caused by many people.
Greenhow is locked up in Dauphin County tonight, and he's expected to be back in court in May. Live tonight in Dauphin County, Lara Greenberg, CBS 21 News. As you can imagine, this woman was very upset, still pretty shaken up today when we spoke to her. She wasn't home when this happened. She found out the next day from neighbors that this cross had been set on fire in front of her home. And so today we spoke with her and the man who first noticed it was a cross and put the fire out. Two bushes side by side, but take a closer look at this one and you'll see it's been burned.
I seen around the bush it burst into flames.
It was a neighbor here in Greenfield Estates near Elizabethville who first noticed the fire. He didn't want his face on camera.
Grabbed a fire extinguisher, ran over and noticed that it had a cross in the middle of the bush there.
A cross burning in front of Ashley Brooks's home. The neighbor says he and another neighbor put out the fire with the extinguisher and some snow. It happened last week, but Ashley Brooks wasn't home at the time.
First thing I just did is start crying, because I'm like, why does people keep picking with me?
But she says she knows why.
When you up in a community like this, I know it's the color of my skin.
It was usually a racist thing, but I've never in my life seen something like that in this area before.
Ashley Brooks says it's not the first time her home has been attacked.
A year ago, I had a break-in, and at that time, I wasn't home.
She says she also recently had a window shot out by a BB gun. She says she moved here 3 years ago looking for safety, but she hasn't found it yet.
It kind of blows my mind, how far people will go to prove a point.
So I don't know what's next. And what's next they're going to do to me if I, still stay here.
Now, Ashley says she'd like to move out, but she just doesn't have the money to do it. And now state police are investigating this as an act of ethnic intimidation. If you know anything about this incident, give police a call. Live in Dauphin County, Lara Greenberg, CBS 21 News. Well, Kai and Jennifer, you can still see the destruction here from Monday night. This window was blown out, and all of this glass from it is still on the ground, including glass bottles. Now, neighbors here tell me this could have been a lot worse, but the community really came out to protect these businesses. We spoke with one of those people today who's being called the Baltimore Batman.
That's old liquor.
His name isn't Bruce Wayne.
I'm just a plain guy.
But Brian Woodyard's initials are the same, and so is his hunger to protect.
So I asked him to please let me stay in, because then I could set up a defense.
Brian's the bouncer here at the old clubhouse. He was working Monday night, but left before the groups of people rioting made it to this part of the city. The owner of the bar, helpless, as the front window was broken.
I'm trying to make a phone call to the police for that. I did about it 30 times, right? They never show up yet.
Surveillance video shows what looters took when they got inside: tobacco and liquor.
The metal grate we had here.
So Brian returned to work dressed like this, armed with a machete to keep other looters away.
I was just trying to get the bar cleared and pray God didn't set it on fire and destroyed everything in it.
So why the mask?
It was the only thing I could grab at the time and get down here and try to save my job.
This job is important to him. Brian admits he's an ex-felon.
But these people actually stood up and gave me a chance.
He says keeping the bar safe is his way of thanking them. The getup now has people calling him the Baltimore Batman. But Brian says he's not Batman. He's one of many Batmen in Baltimore.
A lot of us did not wear masks. But a lot of us did defend our homes, defend our storefronts, defend our bars, and we did our best.
Now, the bar lost an estimated couple $1,000s because of the damage and the stolen items, or the looted items, I should say. And Brian says he didn't keep count, but someone from across the street was watching all of this and counted about 50 looters that he stopped from coming in this bar. Live tonight in Baltimore, Lara Greenberg, Fox 45 News. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Lara Greenberg in for James Tully. CBS 21's Bryant Madrick is live in Harrisburg, where he talked to one food pantry that's seeing such a large increase in people coming through their doors, they had to turn some of them away. And turning to the weather now, it got a little bit warmer today.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
What did you do to enjoy it?
I went running.
I'm not shocked.
I know.
You go running in 10 below zero.
I know. I'm a crazy person.
That's okay.
But it felt better.
Yes, it did.
So.
You probably sweat this time.
Yes, I
okay.
did.
Well,
thanks, Chris. It's time to spring forward tonight. It's daylight savings time, and it's also an opportunity to check the batteries in your smoke detectors. Many townships and boroughs are using this time as a reminder to spread the message that while having a smoke detector is great, the batteries need to be checked on a regular basis to make sure the smoke detector is still working. New details tonight on a deadly industrial accident that happened at a business in York County. We first told you about it as breaking news last night at 11. Now the York County coroner has identified the victim as 63-year-old Stanley Fowler of York. It happened at the New York Wire Company last night. Officials now say Fowler suffocated just before 9 from the accident. Fowler was a longtime employee at the company. Police and OSHA are now investigating his death. A woman from Cumberland County is charged with animal cruelty after a dead dog was found at her Monroe Township home. Police say the dog looked malnourished when it was found yesterday morning at the home of 66-year-old Kathleen Merrow. The investigation is ongoing. A mother left searching for answers, and another U.S. city is seeing tension heat up. A 19-year-old was shot and killed by police in Wisconsin's capital Friday night, eliciting outrage from the community. A crowd gathered at the scene in protest on Friday night. The chief of police in Madison is urging people to use restraint. Correspondent Mary Maloney has the latest on this developing story. Russian officials are holding 2 suspects in connection to the murder of Russian opposition leader Boris Nemtsov. The Federal Security Service identified both as being from Russia's North Caucasus region. No charges have been announced yet. Nemtsov was shot and killed 8 days ago as he was walking near the Kremlin. At the time of his death, the 55-year-old was working on a report about Russian military involvement in the Ukraine conflict. Investigators say they're looking into several motives, including possible ties to Islamic extremism. And coming up, A college party gives new meaning to the phrase bringing down the house. And caught on camera, a case of road rage leads to a brawl right in the middle of a busy street. But first, here are tonight's winning lottery numbers. A college party in California brought down the roof, literally. Police say several thousand college students flooded a neighborhood. They were celebrating St. Fratty's Day, essentially a St. Patrick's Day party. Police say alcohol fueled the party. Dozens stood over the garage on one house until it came crashing down. Other partygoers tried to hold it up. At least 8 people were hurt. Police cited others for underage drinking. Iowa was once again ground zero for potential Republican presidential candidates today at a forum focused on farm policy. 9 potential candidates attended Saturday's forum, including Jeb Bush and a favorite in Iowa, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker. Yeah, I'll take the rain if it means that it's in the 40s and 50s.
That's right.
I can handle that.
Wash away some of that snow, too.
Exactly, yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Good
I'm
stuff.
over winter.
Me too. Ditto. Can't wait for the spring. Come on.
All right. Well, students at Cumberland Valley High School danced the night away for their annual mini-thon to benefit the 4 Diamonds Fund and their efforts to beat childhood cancer. And this weekend, the Farm Show complex is being overrun by our 4-legged friends. After the break, we'll take a look at the National Pet Expo taking place this weekend.